Hi, this is Father Bill W. here in Austin, Texas. I am an Episcopal priest in long-term recovery. Uh, did that through the program of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 steps of AA. If you are new to the podcast series, I'd invite you to go and visit our website. It's titled Two-Way Prayer and teaches you the process of prayer and meditation that they used to do in the earliest days of our program. I think you'll find it really interesting. We're doing workshops on two-way prayer, doing those each month now through June on the second Saturday of each month, 10 to noon. That's Central Time. Write me and I'll be happy to send you a flyer on that. You can write twowayprayer@gmail.com. Also doing a similar workshop for the folks in Maryland, District 18 of Alcoholics Anonymous. And we are doing that one on Sunday, January 24th. So, perhaps if you've not been able to make one of our regular Saturday workshops, perhaps this Sunday one could work for you. Sunday afternoon. It's Eastern time, so I won't confuse you with giving you that. But once again, just send me a note and I'll be happy to send you a flyer that the district has prepared for that one. So business is out of the way. We are getting towards the end of our series on spirituality and religion, trying to figure out what's the difference between those two. Can they live with one another? Are they incompatible or what? So I've been interviewing some marvelous people around the world, literally, and today is no exception. We're going to look into a Muslim in Alcoholics Anonymous. And I was so fortunate to find a young man by the name of Sinan K. He comes to us from Istanbul, Turkey. He's a wonderful, wonderful AA member, and I could tell that as soon as he and I started talking. He's dug into the history. He's real interested in that, and he's also dug into his faith and is exploring the Muslim traditions and particularly some of the mystical elements of that faith. Rumi, the poet, and I think you're going to find this a really fascinating conversation. I know I really enjoyed talking to him, and I hope you'll enjoy listening to what he has to teach us. So without further ado. Well, Sinan, I'm excited to have you with us and to share the story of your faith and your recovery in Alcoholics Anonymous and what that experience has been like for you as a Muslim. And so welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. And could you just begin perhaps by giving a very brief overview of how you were raised in the faith, how the drinking came into being, and the drugs, I understand. All right, and then you got into AA and what that was like for you.
Yeah. Um, Born and bred it in a traditional Turkish family, the only kid. There was always a praying. My mom taught me how to pray. Um, but I remember that when my parents got divorced, I was trying to get the attention of everybody, my parents and the people, but I wasn't able to express myself. And then I met with alcohol at that time. I was able to meet with the girls, speak with the girls, um, be the intelligent or guy within the friendship. That illusion carried me my university time. I was able to finish the university, and then I moved to England to learn English. Somehow I found to do my master's degree in there. That's where I met with the drugs, and then there's a romance relation happened in there. I came back with the disaster relationship, and something happened in 25. I was diagnosed with a major depression, and then where my drinking has become very interesting. And then between 25 and 40, I remember that I was drinking by my own in most of the nights. Um, the alcohol previously was giving me the boost to meet with the people. Now it was the challenge for me to be able to speak or to be able to live the life in life's term. It's become a more antidepressant for me. But at that time, I was taking medicines as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day, it was it was I was having anxiety attacks. I tried many treatment ways. It didn't work out. It did work in some while, but um, one way I was always felt nervous. I was just drinking way too much. I was not an alcoholic. I was having a major depression. That's why I was become an alcoholic. My mom, she tortured me with physically, and she was the responsible for that. And all these illusions. And one day, doctor told me that I asked him, "Am I an addict, alcoholic, or I'm just drinking just because of my traumas in the childhood?" He said to me, "Whatever is your choice. Um, Either you call it post-trauma syndrome, or you
Yes.
call yourself an alcoholic. One way or another, the result is you cannot have one more drink anymore. Do you accept it?" And I said, "Yes, doctor, I accept it now. It's clear for me. It's going to be from now on, I'm not going to drink it." It
You,
lasted
you
on.
you had a very wise physician there.
I was I was so desperate to apply what he told me.
Yeah.
However, it went only 3 weeks. Then I relapsed,
Okay.
and this whole year, 25 years, I was only stopped drinking when I was in the national service in the army. And this conversation was happened in July 2017. He also gave me the AA rooms. I didn't call them. And back in 2018, January, I lost everything: my wife, my job, my income, and everything. And that's where I knocked the door in January 2018. And then I said, "Okay, I'll do whatever it takes." Yeah.
What was it like coming into AA as a Muslim? Anything different, do you think?
First, when I joined the AA, the word hit me. This word of surrender was hit me really. I never heard of it. I always heard of the name of God, pray, meditation, everything, but the word of surrender was, I never heard it. It was strange. That word has just kept me. I want it. The
And
second,
that is the meaning of Islam, is it not?
exactly,
That's the
exactly.
meaning. Yeah.
That is the meaning. I don't know. I want it. And second thing was promises. We read it, promises number 8 or number 10.
Yeah.
Fear of people and economical security will leave us.
Right.
That was, I wanted that one. And they gave me the chip afterwards with this circle and
Triangle.
triangle. And I said, "Okay, this is Mason thing. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to do that." And then we hold our hands and then we prayed. And I said, "These guys are must be, I'm sorry, but they have a different selections in their sex life. I thought they were gay."
Yes. Now, were most of the people there Muslims in the meeting? The majority?
Um, well, they were all alcoholics.
Aha.
They were all alcoholics. I don't know their
The faith?
decision, faith,
Okay.
but they told their stories.
Yes.
One of them was 65 years old. He told me, he was the captain. He told me his story. He just didn't lecture me. He didn't give me any do this, do that. He just told his story, and that was it. I want it. And I said, "I will do whatever it takes."
You were ready.
I
You
did
were
not
ready.
have any other choice.
Yes. That's usually when we arrive.
I also tried faith before came into the AA. I
Yes.
tried faith.
Yeah.
I was reading Quran 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
But I had problem with that, all these explanations and everything. And somehow I just keep myself away from praying and everything. But somehow that word of surrender just get my attention.
It broke through. It broke through to you.
And I
Beautiful.
said, God, give me a book, please. Give me a book so I can read it, I can practice it, and I can stay sober. At that time, I picked my sponsor. I attended the meeting. They gave me the AA big book and everything. And then somehow a friend gave me a Quran. There were there weren't, it was very different when I compared the Quran that I read it from my family. It was very different. There were no men and women. There were no all these recover all these things and everything. I found it very interesting, and I wanted to meet with him, how he interpreted it. But at the meantime, I was attending the meetings, AA meetings. It was January. I was doing step 1, step 2. I met with this gentleman, and I asked him, why? Look, I am in an AA program. There's word of surrender. And then he told me the same thing. Surrender is meaning of Islam is the same thing. And I found it very fascinating. And I told him about the steps. And I asked him, which one you think I should choose? Please tell me. And which book I should read it?
Yeah.
Which book you want me to read it? He told me, Sinan, the book that you are holding, the Quran, is a manual book to read yourself. First thing you have to do to read yourself, which is called Temet Noske, or Men Arefe Nefsehu, know your nafs, know your ego. This book will tell you. And at the meantime, I was studying, we were at step 4 with my sponsor. And I still have my book. Step 4 is my book, is where I read myself. And I found it very, I don't know, at that time, miracles, I believe that. Big book, you call it, I'm not going to compare it, obviously, but they're all ways to read myself and to tap this power within myself. And Bill tells us ego deflation.
Yes.
Sufism, pretty much the levels of nafs.
And Sufism is a branch of Islam, but it's more the mystical experience. It's an in-depth experience of the faith. Tell me more. Yeah, I mean that's my understanding of it.
That's where, and then when at the experience of step 4, speaking with that gentleman and all these, and also I asked him. The other thing was very different. Guy, it was his name. We call it higher power in AA, but we call it Allah in Quran. Which one I should use it? He says there is no different, brother. Allah is coming from Hu El Hu. If you go back to Hebrew,
Yes.
Hu is power, El is high. It doesn't really matter which you say. You pretty much saying the same thing.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's that, and then all right. I appreciate it. We're coming back to that day and then having that pray. Give me the power. The book is really actually my own book. The reading this body, reading these my thoughts, my character defects, I would say. Where I am in autopilot, I am moving all these things. And since then, my faith, Muslim and AA way there wasn't any conflict.
Mm-hmm.
I found it very um, it's um, I don't know, it's very joyful journey. I found it says on the promises you will find serenity and peace. I am looking back to Quran. There are many prayers is having that word, and then it says
Peace, the word peace,
the
salam.
peace, yeah,
Salam.
barış, barış. You will find serenity and peace. The ones who surrendered will gain serenity and peace.
Yes.
As you said, Islam and
And,
already is
and my understanding is if I am not, we are made for God. And if I am not in right relationship with God, I cannot be at peace. There is something very deep inside of me that is disconnected from my own source. Does that make sense?
yes. In
Yes.
Sufism, it is more there is no God and me.
Yeah. Yeah. There is no separation.
There is no separation. My
Right.
old beliefs,
Yeah.
God was retired. I was giving big jobs to God. He was having a beard, and then he
Yeah.
was old, and then
Yes. He's
like
been
in the
around
picture,
forever. He's been around forever.
he's been around forever, and then he was punishing.
Yes.
He was punishing. He was sending all these things. But when I moved into, not moving, but try to read myself, this power within myself, or that's called, it's not very far away, but I have put layers, my fear, my old beliefs, jealousy, trust, greed, laziness, they're
Yeah.
all, I put layers.
That get in the way, that block me from
It is, I was always looking outside
instead of in.
instead
Yes.
of in.
Yeah. The great reality is within, the book
Within,
says. Within. Yeah.
definitely.
And most of the program, most of the steps are about removing the blockages between that self,
Transforming, transforming it. I
transforming it.
I do believe fear and love. Fear is more really to remind me the God.
Yeah.
Anger is another. Anger is a mask who wears a fear. When fear wears a mask, it becomes an anger.
Right.
And my nets is really which called sometimes in other way my false self. Let's say it fears, it afraids, but when it has turned his ways to God, it transforms into soul, because their all ingredient is the same.
Mm-hmm.
If I am thinking about myself all day, I put layers. That's where I lose conscious contact with God.
Yes.
But when I turn myself, and when God is in my mind all the time, that is really the key thing, is returning to soul. And how do I say, intuitively how to handle situation. There is a one power inside me really knows how to handle situation intuitively. That
Yes.
one that's what I call soul.
This is why I'm so interested in two-way prayer. I don't know how familiar you may be with that, but that is trying to get in touch with that voice that is pushing me, prompting me, pulling me towards what? Towards becoming my full self, towards becoming who you are. And who are we? We're an expression of God. That this ego that wants to pull me aside and see me as separate and see me as different, we all have it, and you can't not have it. If you don't have an ego, you are psychotic. You know, that doesn't work. But what is the condition of that ego? Is it surrendered?
Yeah, when I am speaking with my sponsees, with non-Muslims, or I go back to why there's ego is in there. I go back to big book. It's easy to tell. Page 417.
Uh-huh.
God doesn't make sense. Acceptance is the answer.
Yes.
If there is an ego in this world, if you have there is a reason for that. Just accept it as it is. Try to transform it.
Yeah.
Why don't blame yourself that why you are self-centered, that why your ego is acting in this way, why there is a fear. You know, the answer will come.
Yeah.
But don't judge it. God doesn't make mistakes.
No. No. I would like to go through the 5 pillars of Islam very briefly, but to give people who are listening maybe a richer, deeper understanding of some of the pillars of the faith. All right.
Yeah.
And I'm interested as an alcoholic how they correspond with the program, because they're not really so separate.
They are not.
Yeah. So the first one is faith. The first pillar is faith, the creed. There is no God but Allah. Muhammad is his prophet.
Yes.
All right. How do you take that into AA? You talked about the surrender. Is there any other things that?
It says, "Eşhedü en la ilahe illa Allah ve eşhedü enne Muhammeden abduhu ve resuluhu," which means there is no. I'll give an example. My career, my wife, the house that I was living, it was way too much important to me.
Yes.
I was praying them. They were my gods. My career, my wife, all these things. But also there was God. It's La ilaha illa Allah. There is no all these gods, but there's only Allah, which is in the how it works. That one is God. May you find him now, who has all the power, all this power, all this career that I have, all these houses and everything. It belongs to God. It's been given to me.
Right.
This is where I found it very similar and exactly the same thing. And Muhammad and Rasulullah is, there are many prophets of God, like here in this world, to carry the message, like Jesus, Moses. They're all
prophets.
They're all prophets.
Right.
They're here to show you how to become a human. I am not a human. I would say, when I say it's a very, it's going to Sufism, but when I am acting fear, anger, or we call dishonest fear, resentment, self-centeredness, which is step 10, DFRS, I call it. Dishonest fear, resentment, self-centeredness.
Right.
There are ways. If I don't trust God, I will have these feelings, and then I don't become a human. Or I would say Adam. I would say Adam. Human being is Adam.
Man. Adam means man in Hebrew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
full, but full man. Full man.
Full. There's no gender in here.
Yeah.
I'm not talking. It's
right.
It's a consciousness.
Right. It's to be who you are meant to be.
Exactly. Yeah. This is kind of, I don't have to be a good person. Right. If I become an Adam, whatever I do, it will become a good anyway.
Yeah.
There is no run to be a good person, good father, good manager. Just have the Adam conscious on your level, on your consciousness. Yes. Or try to live your life like Muhammad, like Jesus, Moses. They are good examples of Adam. Try to live your life in those things.
Yeah.
And then coming back, dishonest fear, resentment, self-centeredness.
Right.
Transform them.
Yes. All right. We could go on and on here, so I'm going to have to move along. The second one is prayer.
Pray. Exactly. There is no namaz. It doesn't exist in namaz. it is as it written in Salat in Quran.
Mhm.
Salat means turn your way to God.
Yes. Be mindful. The
You can
Buddhists
do
would
whenever.
call it mindfulness. Am I correct?
Mindfulness. Yeah,
Yes.
you can turn your conscious to God. You turn your way to God. You don't have to go to mosque. It is a good way,
Right.
but putting your this consciousness to God, for me, it starts when I am stepped out of the mosque.
Yes.
Coming into the meeting, it's for me is namaz, because I call it, I talk about God in meetings. That's for me
Yes.
is praying.
So the practice is 5 times a day.
Yeah,
One stops and becomes mindful of God in prayer. You reconnect. All right. No matter where you are, you don't
I
have to
am
be in the
all,
mosque.
I am already connected. One it is conscious, the other
Yes.
one is unconscious.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
I
So
am all,
unconsciously, I'm connected, but my conscious mind falls asleep. It drifts away. And so I stop. I pause. The big book says what? Pause when agitated.
exactly.
Mohammed says something, pause, or you're going to get agitated, and bring yourself back to that at least 5 times a day. Um, and it includes praise for God and supplication, a remembrance of my ego being present. That's my understanding of the prayer, that it's a combination of those two things, can be done anywhere, but to be constant in it is the goal, to live within that flow without the blockage that an unhealthy ego presents. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Charity is the third.
Yeah, charity is helping others.
Yes. I think I heard that in the program somewhere. Yeah,
Exactly. It is charity. It's just, you just give what you have. It doesn't have to be money.
right.
You,
Money, if you're wealthy, it should be money. If you're not wealthy,
you,
it is giving of self,
you can give your knowledge.
your knowledge.
You can share your abilities, because they don't belong to me.
Right.
It is God's values. It has been handed over to me for a limited time of a period.
Yes.
They're not mine.
Right.
But if I say my degree, my knowledge,
Then
then
the ego has already started to inflate.
yeah, there is duality starts, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
here I am in trouble.
All right. Yes. I understand there's a 2.5% is the a figure. Is that 1/40th? I'm not a mathematician. That each year, that should be the minimum level of giving.
Yeah,
Uh,
that has been suggested. It's a
yeah, it's a
suggestion.
suggestion.
You
Yeah.
can do more than that. You can,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the more it says it's a suggestion, but the more you do it is better for you.
And it's not just the income from that year, but it's of everything. So it's a continuous giving away, which is the deeper appreciation of that. I mean, we can get
Exactly.
very legalistic. I gave 2.5%. It's not about that. It's about freeing me from my clinging to material things, which we all do.
Yeah, for example, my mom and my parents, I remember that. Um, for example, if you're gonna donate your clothes
Yeah,
to a family, which one you are saving, which one is the best, give that one.
that's right.
That is difficult for ego. Give that one.
That's right.
However, am I practicing it? To be honest, I'm nowhere there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a very this ego deflation. It's a very uh, hard way, but I am so glad that at least I'm
We're
trying
all
to
on the
follow.
journey. We're on the journey.
Exactly. At least I'm on the journey.
Yeah, yeah. Ramadan, number 4.
Yeah,
Ramadan.
it is. It is good for good for body. I mean, it
So
is
it's a season. It's a season of how many days? Is it 40 days or a month?
30 days, a
30
month.
days. 30
Yeah.
days. Yeah.
It is good for body. You just basically what it's in the Ramadan. You just change your appetite. You were reading, you were eating during the day and sleeping during the night. You do it differently at Ramadan. You work and then you don't eat anything during the day and then you eat night. And then body some kind of shaking up. What is
Yes.
happening? What am I going to wake up in the 4 in the morning? It is difficult for body, for brain to wake up 4 in the morning. But that is the way, again, teaching the ego. It is way of transforming an ego to soul. That there is
What,
another way it's possible.
I think when we get down to money, food, and sex, we're going to meet God. we're going to meet who is the real God inside, you know? So, yeah, that's wonderful. And pilgrimage is the final one, so that
Going back to
once
Hajj.
the
Going back to
Hajj,
Hajj.
yes, the Hajj.
Hajj, all right. For me, Hajj, this whole Islam surrender, it's a journey from my brain to my heart.
Yes, the longest distance in the world.
Hajj, it represents the heart.
Yeah.
So all these things, all these, practices, getting lay or try to all these moving all these uh, constraints on my
Yes.
life, and then I reach the heart level. The people called Heart Math Institute, most of them are calling the same thing. There's a different frequency of heart.
Yes.
So Hajj means moving into that way. You can go to Hajj. I mean, if you pay for it, all right, that is okay. That
To
is
go to Mecca.
physically
To go to
to
Mecca
Mecca. It is,
once in your lifetime is
yeah,
is the is
but
the
for me, finding the Hajj within myself all the time is the ultimate goal.
yes.
It represents going into Saudi Arabia, Mecca, which is totally fine. Inshallah, I will do that if God allows me. That's fine. However, if I don't have the money and everything, try to find Hajj within myself.
That's right. That's right. Well, Sinan, I really cannot thank you enough for sharing some of your recovery journey with us and how that dovetails with your faith journey, because you're right, they are not separate. They should not be separate. Um, um, Dr. Bob used to, before there was a big book, there was the good book, and there so much of the big book came from the good book, and yet we separate the two in ways that we'd like to see them as different. It does take some work, though, to integrate, to think about my faith and my recovery. A lot of people just want to separate those two as if they're very different. And I'm so delighted to hear you say they're not. They are the path that God is leading you on. It's beautiful.
It is going back to basics, really getting rid of the old beliefs, which was
Yeah.
in my case. That is what happened. It didn't work. It for a while it worked, but somehow it didn't work. But this is all about, I'm going back, carrying the message to another alcoholic.
Yeah.
And it, as it says in the promises number 9, outlook upon life. It's just that's my whole thing. Previously, it was all about all external things,
Right.
but this was given to me from my sponsor, and my responsibility to give it to someone else. Then it doesn't belong to me.
Well, AA is alive and well in Istanbul, and you are carrying the message. And it was our pleasure to hear some of that journey that you shared with us. So thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Bill, for having me.
I hope we can meet beyond Zoom someday.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Well, I hope you found something helpful in that interview with Sinan. I think he's a young man with a great deal of wisdom and some wonderful years ahead in sharing his experience, strength, and hope with people, I suspect, from all around the world. If you are enjoying this series on the religious aspects and spiritual aspects, those dimensions of recovery, I want to recommend a book to you called The Religions of Man by Houston Smith. It's a marvelous compilation of the different religions of the world, and Smith does an outstanding job of distilling there's a word alcoholics love, distilling each of the great faiths down to the essence. What is it that they're trying to teach and preserve and guide us in? And it's really about the wisdom of centuries and centuries compiled together. Not always easy to sift through it, but I have found it definitely worth the journey. So thank you once again for listening. Hope this was helpful to you. God bless, and do keep coming back.